And yeah, so to start, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Sharon Snyder. I'm the current Vice President of Collegiate Affairs. I graduated from Ohio Northern University, so right up the road from Dayton and Wright State, back in 2009 with a degree in mechanical engineering. Spent 6 years in Indiana at Purdue University, actually working on a master's and a PhD. And now I'm out in Tucson, Arizona, where at least for 5 more days, I work for Raytheon as a systems engineer, and I'll be getting ready to move across the country to Maryland in a couple more weeks. So before serving as VPCA, I was an RFD for the West 2 region, both before it got broken down into manageable size, and then after, when it was just Arizona, Colorado, and Wyoming. So that's a little bit about me. So I will let Anna tell you about her.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just so I can share that, RFD presentation that you mentioned, Rebecca. Oh, Sharon, sorry. I see Rebecca's on the line too. Can everyone see my screen here? I don't think I'm presenting though. All right, awesome. I'm going to go out of order here. I'll introduce myself first and then we'll go back. So my name is Anna O'Neill. I know I've met with at least all of the chapter presidents already, but if you're joining as a liaison for your chapter president, it's nice to meet you. My name is Anna O'Neill. I just graduated from the University of Michigan. I joined FIRO the fall of my freshman year, so 2016. While I was an active member, I was publicity chair, and then I was also on our executive board as VP of External Affairs. One of my favorite memories as external affairs was planning our formal. It was so fun. It's definitely like one of my favorite FIRO memories. Like I said, University of Michigan, and I also graduated in mechanical engineering, like you, Sharon. And then I just recently moved to Cincinnati, Ohio. I moved here, I think, like 10 weeks ago now. So I am pretty new to the area in terms of, permanent relocation, but I've lived in the area the past couple summers interning with P&G. I even lived on the University of Cincinnati campus for a summer, so I'm familiar with that area. And then, like I said, I work at P&G. I currently work as a packaging engineer in research and development, but I've worked on, a variety of our brands in previous internships. So my fun fact always that I worked on Charmin, our toilet paper brand, for a summer. Really niche and kind of unique, but that's always my fun fact that I like to say in social situations, is that I spent a summer engineering toilet paper and trying to make it softer and better. And then I also worked on Old Spice for a summer. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Sharon, I don't know if you want me to walk through the rest of the presentation, or if you want me to send it back to you to go through other agenda items.
Actually, let's go ahead and have everybody else on the call go ahead and introduce yourself. So I know Rebecca is one of our, I'm going to say former RFD. She's the current RFD for a different region. But for those of you representing a chapter, again, if you just want to tell us which chapter you're from, what your role is at the chapter, and then maybe one goal that you have for your chapter this year, one challenge for your chapter. And I'm not sure if you got this in your presentation, so if you do, we can go over that later. But at least introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your chapter, maybe. Like I said, the goal, a challenge, the size of your chapter, and your favorite FIRO event.
That sounds perfect.
Okay, so Emma, you're at the top of my list. I guess we'll start with you.
All right, hi y'all. My name's Emma. I'm the Kentucky president. I'm from St. Louis. I'm a senior in civil engineering. Let's see. A goal would be to get through our practice recruitment smoothly, like our recruitment presentation from our girl. So hopefully that all goes well. A challenge is going to be how we're going to choose what girls are going to meetings. And then my favorite event, I usually like Big Little Reveal a lot. That's one of my favorites. I love my fam. Am I missing something?
That's a pretty good. Oh, besides your chapter.
Oh yeah, okay. I think we're at 68 right now, if I'm not off the top of my head.
All right, sounds good to me. All right, thanks, Emma. Let's go to Francesca. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, you did.
Okay,
Oh,
awesome. All right.
Okay, I hit buttons and my screen went weird. So I can turn on my video too, maybe.
Yeah,
To start, I'm Francesca. I'm the president of the Gamma chapter at University of Dayton. I'm currently living in Atlanta, so hopefully getting back on campus this week, cross the fingers. Chapter size, we have about 40 right now. A goal for this semester is going to be kind of transitioning and altering our events to be all virtual. Current university standards is no groups bigger than 10 people. So essentially everything we're doing is virtual. So that's kind of also going to be a challenge. The biggest challenge I think right now is going to be our social events and keeping our actives engaged.
And size of your chapter.
Size of chapter, we're about 40.
40. Okay, all right, thanks. And so far, last but not least, Angelica.
Hi everyone. I am with the Wright State University chapter, Alpha Zeta. We have about 16 people right now. I am the VP of recruitment and I'm also the fundraising and philanthropy chair. One goal that I have for VP of recruitment is to have 75% of the whole chapter attend all of the recruitment events. And I'd say the biggest challenge is navigating around switching to all online recruitment. So
Yeah, you're not alone in that challenge. Don't worry. Rebecca, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm just creeping to take a photo when Anna gets to a slide that's not about her personal information. But I'm Rebecca Palmer. I was the regent for all your schools the last 2 years. So for those of you that I haven't talked to in like 2 months, good to see you. I will miss you greatly. It's been a hoot, but you're in good hands with Anna. And then also I'm going to help coordinate the Midwest region. So if you need anything, I'll still be getting all your updates through Anna and everything, and happy to help out. So thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Creeper Rebecca. Here we go. All right. Yeah, that sounds good for introductions. So Anna, I'll just let it go back to you and your presentation. You're still muted though.
I wasn't saying anything important. Don't worry. Just saying that I was going to share my screen. You can hear me now, correct? Awesome. So I think I've done this a little out of order because, like I said, I have already met with each of the chapter presidents. So you've got, maybe a little personal introduction to me, and I've gotten the chance to learn about each of your chapters. So thank you all for setting aside the time to do that with me. I think those conversations were really, productive for me to learn about, the different aspects of your chapter and what you guys are thinking. Some of the common things I heard, I heard a lot of people curious about how things might change in the coming months or years in terms of what academic majors are accepted in FIRO. And I heard a lot of talk about, how do we get our voices heard in that discussion? And then I heard a lot of discussion around how can we encourage people to continue to come to chapter if it's purely virtual? Are there ways that we can transition from having a more formal meeting to having, maybe time set aside each week where we get our agenda items done, but also promote sisterhood and use that time to connect with our sisters. So there's just like a couple things that I heard while talking to each of you. But today I'm going to go through again, what is an RFD, what do we do, and then put my contact information up on the screen. So if you haven't had a chance to save it yet, you can save it and know how to get a hold of me. So I already introduced myself, but here's the slide about what is an RFD. And I know Rebecca is on the line, so she probably told you most of these things hopefully during your last semester as president while she was your RFD. But just as a reminder, I'll be your primary liaison between your chapter, all of your active members, and then the National Council. So as a reminder, I'll probably primarily be interfacing with you as chapter president or an executive board member, but any active member of your chapter is obviously welcome to reach out to me. As I talked with each of you in our little one-on-ones, I'll be attending one of your first couple of chapter meetings, and I'll be able to provide a brief introduction to myself and then my contact information to your active members at that point. So hopefully if there are issues that they want to speak to a representative from Nationals about, they'll feel comfortable reaching out to me. But if you get a type of question that you think would be better handled by a third party or someone with more of a Nationals perspective, don't hesitate to send people my way. And I'll, of course, assist you in complying with all of the National Sorority standards and providing guidance to help improve your chapter performance. I know we're obviously facing a lot of challenges that are really unique this year, so hopefully I can help you directly, but also help you connect with other chapter presidents in your region as we go through these different types of changes. So here's a laundry list of all the things that you can contact me about, but also, like the last thing says, anything else. If you have something that's not encompassed on this list, feel free to reach out to me and I can either help you directly or help you get into contact with someone who can assist with that issue or concern. And then, from my perspective, besides from my interactions with you, here's a little insight into what else I'll be up to. I'll be checking in with all the other presidents in your region, and then I'll also be checking in with that VP of Collegiate Affairs. I'll be emailing you reminders if there's certain things that you will need to be notified about. And then I'll, like I mentioned before, be answering any questions that you have. Feel free to get in contact with me any way that you see fit. I know that I've set up a group me with the chapter presidents. I think that's a great way. That's one of the ways that I'm really responsive, but text or email, phone call, I'm happy to respond in any of those ways as well. And then, again, just a list of the other chapters in our region. And then here's my contact information. You all should have received an email from me, so hopefully you have the email address, but here's my phone number one more time if you wanted to write it down or add it to your contacts. And when I get the chance to stop by each of your chapter meetings, I will share this with them as well. Like I said, if there's any concerns from actives, they're more than welcome to contact me directly as well. And I think that's all. I'll go back to the slide if you're still adding it, but any other questions? I know there might not be any because we have the chance to talk one-on-one, but any questions or thoughts at this point?
Also, if you have a question for me as a council member, I'm on the call too, is answer any questions. So, if there was something that you had brought up with Anna that you really want answered now, we can definitely talk about that. Otherwise I can just wait until I get my update from her and we can chat. Yeah, this is basically open forum for you guys now. I know it's that by this point in conference, we've already had President Roundtable, we've had all these sessions, so we've probably covered a lot of territory. But if there's anything else, now is definitely a great time to ask.
Anna, I have a question for you, and maybe Sharon, you can answer it. In the spring, we had to fill out a form to get the initiation materials, and so they were going to ship it to our home address because everyone was like off on campus. I never received any materials, and now I'm heading back to campus, so I just don't want it shipped to my house and then have my parents have to forward it to me. Do we know what happened in the overall process?
So I think that's going to be something I need to check in with. You can also actually just email our VP of membership, Caitlin Millis. She was kind of handling the coordination of a lot of that stuff, and then either our admin, Karen, or executive director, Kat, were the ones actually physically shipping it out. So actually, I would email Caitlin. Her email, I will put it in the chat box. She may have a better idea of where things are right now. Actually, no, if you were returning to campus, your material is going to show up on campus this fall. I think it was just the graduating seniors that things are going to be shipped to their home address. And then since they weren't coming back to campus, I'm pretty sure that's actually what was going on. So I think, I don't remember if presidents, obviously, okay, I guess presidents were the one that might have been filling out that form. I'm not sure if it ended up with like your VP of recruitment, but if you were the one that was supposed to get everything for your chapter, get in touch with Caitlin, because that stuff should have all been mailed out by now, either seniors to their home or people returning to campus that should have been somewhere. So yeah, check with her. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Actually, if people are still thinking of questions, just for my benefit, since I haven't had the opportunity like Anna to get to meet everyone yet, I think, did we have a representative from Cincinnati join the call? I think that's where that
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear my alarm go off for the meeting. So
that's all right.
Hi, Anna.
Hi.
Anna's met all of you guys. I'm still learning names, or at least just seeing faces. If, at least for my benefit, if you'd like to introduce yourself, just what your role in the chapter is, and then just a few things about your chapter, like one goal that you have this year, one challenge, the size of your chapter, and then maybe your most fun pyro event.
Okay, my name's Daly. I am the current president for the Alpha Beta chapter. Let's see. Something I started last year when I was VP of Standards was working to build kind of like a better sense of talking about what your current mental health state is and continuing to work on that, especially when we went virtual. So that's been going okay, but hopefully fall semester we'll get some more engagement. I think we're currently at 80 some per chapter. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but we've been doing well. So hopefully fall recruitment is as good as the past recruitments. And then last year we did do Dream Girls Day at our campus, which was really, really fun. So I'm hoping that we get to continue doing that, even though it'll be virtual this year, but for like many, many years to come, because we really enjoyed doing that.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Daly. Did anybody else have questions, like I said, for Anna, or either for me? Maybe there was something that was brought up in a session that you've got questions about now, or Anna ran through some common things she heard talking to everyone. Now is a great time that we can discuss this, since we've got everybody from the region on the call.
Sharon, one thing that comes to mind is I think Francesca brought up from Dayton that they're having a member looking to transfer into their chapter, I think from Arkansas. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that was kind of one of the follow-ups from our one-on-one that, I said I would look into and maybe help provide some information about. But if there's anything that you maybe want to share about the process at this time, that might be.
Yeah, so basically with transfer students, it's going to be up to the receiving chapter to basically decide how they want to handle that. You know, if you guys want to have her go through the whole recruitment process again, or you know maybe if you just want to have her meet with a couple different groups of sisters just to get a feel for her personality and things like that. I mean, it's if you guys think that she's like not a great fit, or you can only accept so many bids, and there's other people you'd rather have, like it's up to you for that basically. The same thing with, you know, if you do decide to have her as a member of your chapter, if you know you want to have her go through all the new mem stuff again, or basically just skip all of that and just say like you were an active one, so you're just inactive here. I would email the VP of Alumni Affairs, Mary Beth White, which I'm going to put her email in here too, if I can type. Just because I need to double check and coordinate with her how kind of the nuts and bolts of that process work. Like if somebody leaves your chapter, you know, you move them to alumnus status. And so if she gets moved to alumnus status at, you know, say Cincinnati, I've totally forgotten the chapters by now, or at Arkansas, sorry. So she gets moved to an alum at Arkansas, you know, that's kind of her home base. That was her installation chapter. So I think that's like technically what alumni group should be part of. But this is where Mary Beth comes in, because I don't quite know how all this works. Transfer students usually we have, you know, maybe 2 or 3 like over a whole council term. So it's not something we deal with a lot. But yeah, basically up to the receiving chapter, how you want to handle her, I guess, onboarding process as a new sister with your chapter. I'm assuming that you guys would like to have her as a sister. And then, yeah, I would send an email to Mary Beth and myself, just, you know, letting us know from what chapter to which chapter, and we can help kind of work you through the things on chapter spot that you might have to change, or how to kind of get around weird status change things or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of a crappy answer too. Wow, I'm just over Tuesday. So yeah, I would email Mary Beth and myself just to keep us in the loop so that we can keep track of like weird alumni status, things like that.
Thank you, that helps.
Awesome. I know, Francesca, when we talked, I mentioned that there was a woman who transferred into my chapter, and then I adopted her as my little. So, you know, aside from that, from the logistical side of things, definitely reach out to me if you are looking for more ideas about how to, you know, make her feel welcomed or incorporated into the chapter on more of the interpersonal side too. We can talk about that more.
I mean, if somebody would like to voluntarily bring up the issue with majors, I am welcome to discussing that with you, but I'm going to let you guys be the ones to start and steer that discussion if you want it to happen here today.
Yeah, I think the suggestion was made that it might be interesting to, you know, have some sort of forum or platform to talk about it in a smaller group, because sometimes in a larger group, people can't, you know, don't always feel like their voices are being heard.
Right.
So I just wanted to bring it up here if anyone wants to, you know, voice specific, you know, frustrations or concerns about it. I think that, you know, we're more than happy to listen and talk about it now.
Yeah. One thing I can say is that we have received a couple, like we received a request explicitly from the Theta chapter at Connecticut asking us, you know, to like actually do something about the major issue. And we also received basically a very similar sort of thing before conference this year. It's So I have to be very careful about things, how things come out. But basically, you know, any chapter has their right to put a proposal to council. And part of what we have to do as council is basically vet that proposal and work with the chapter, whoever brings it up, to make sure that, you know, it complies with bylaws and our constitution and all that kind of stuff. and basically help them prepare it for an actual sorority vote. With the issue of majors, just know that y'all in Midwest 2 are not alone in, either if you would like to push to expand it to STEM majors, you have lots of company with that. If you feel very strongly about keeping it engineering, technology, you also have a lot of very strong opinions, and you've got back there. And that's the thing that, obviously there's two very vocal sides of this issue. And so what Helen and the rest of council, what we had started to look into doing is basically working with a third-party mediator. No joke, like this is how much of a third rail hot button issue is. Working with an actual external mediator so that, all of the actives, basically we would ask one representative from each chapter, or, if you've got maybe half your chapter feels very strongly one way, half the chapter feels very strongly the other, you'd have two people representing that. But basically each chapter would be able to give their, their chapter's opinion on this. And then, there's a lot of alums and founders who have very strong opinions. They would be able to present their side of things, so it's not just the chapter, it's the rest of the sisters. And this mediator, the point of them is to kind of take out a lot of the emotions and kind of that side of it, and just really look at, here's what these people would like, here's what these people would like, help everybody come to, I'm not going to say consensus, but basically an agreement or something that everyone can just like say, we agreed to this, we're going to just deal with this for now. Yeah, it's like I said, there's a lot of very strong feelings with this, which is why it's an issue. Like if we could just wave a magic wand and say this is how it's going to be, like believe me, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of us on council that just would have done something like that months ago, because it's been very stressful for us. So please, I hope that you guys as chapter, as chapter representatives, as active sisters, I know that it's frustrating when you say something to council and it seems like nothing changes, but hopefully between convention last year and some of the conference sessions this year, it's opened your eyes a little bit more to the things that council is trying to balance. So it's not just what active sisters want, and it's not what certain alumni want. It's trying to balance all of those things. And like I said, this was such a I don't even know the best way to describe it. It's just like with that issue, it really brings out things in people. And so we're trying the best we can to balance things. But I think the mediator and using them will hopefully be a very neutral, open platform where, you guys as actives feel very comfortable in expressing an opinion, even if it's different than the one that, Abby or Rashmi present. I know as founders, it's sometimes really intimidating to not, be in total agreement with them. I've been there, that's the thing. It's really scary. But hopefully, an environment like that would be nice and neutral and safe, and you guys would feel comfortable speaking up with that, or at least through a chapter representative. So I hope that kind of addressed things and hope maybe answered more questions than you have. Yeah, I know if there's additional things like that, feel free to email me. I know that Helen also sent out recently to the presidents, and I think the chapter VP of standards as well, the most up-to-date list of majors for each chapter. So if you haven't already, just take a glance through that list and make sure there's nothing like, civil engineering is a major at your school and it was left off this list, make sure that there's nothing like that and that you have a list that seems appropriate for your school. I know Alpha Kappa and Alpha Lambda, their lists get mixed up all the time because they're both Arizonas and they're they're next to each other in the alphabet. So yeah, make sure you're taking a look at that list. I know we had another chapter today that I guess being an undeclared major within the College of Engineering is like a new thing in the past year or two. So they were trying to get like undeclared freshman engineering added as an approved major. And that one's really easy because it's within the College of Engineering. So if there's anything like that, if your school added a new major or something, that'll be an email for Helen, and that's just VP of Standards at sigmarow.org. I won't type that one in because that one's pretty easy. So, did you guys have any other questions or concerns about? Okay, the housing corporation. And I don't think you had. I know we had somebody in one of the RFDs had volunteered or was working with housing corporation, but I don't think that was you, right? No. Okay. The housing corporation. I actually don't know if I have an email for them. If you would like to, okay, give me a second. I might have an email. Housing Corp question. Okay, no, I do not have an email with them. I hate to dump all this back on Kellen, but if you email Kellen, president at physigmarow.org, she will be able to give you the chair and the email address for the chair of the housing committee. So that'd be my best advice to get in touch with them. I have no idea about a timeline, unfortunately. I think everything housing related has kind of been put on hold right now, just because a lot of places, it's kind of up in the air what's going to happen with, campus housing situations of what's going on with that. So.
It looks like she replied in the chat and said, sounds good, thank you, no worries.
I guess I do have one question for y'all as actives. So I know that Rebecca, you guys had worked with Rebecca last year, and if you've already talked about this, you guys can just totally tell me to forget about it. Have you guys talked about, maybe what do you want from your RFD? Anything that you guys are going to try new this year, Anna, that maybe Rebecca had started, or just kind of new initiatives? I know you said you've got a chapter president group me, anything like that to kind of better support, or ladies perspectives, anything that you've talked to Anna about, like, hey, we really need support with this. This is just really important information for me too, that I know Anna and I would probably talk about in her one-on-one, just additional resources or areas that we can help out.
Yeah, I would love to hear more about it. I think, I asked this question with some of the chapter presidents, but I also think that maybe you've had more time to think about it or reflect since then. One of the big things that came up was with Dayton, actually, they talked about a campus-wide assessment for sororities and fraternities. And I know that some other chapters might start to experience that as well, as, there's more scrutiny, more of a magnifying glass on Greek life. I think that's something to talk about, bringing awareness to. But I would love to hear, people have had, like I said, more of a chance to reflect on it since we've talked, and you can think of things that you'd like to see more of from me, or less of. Either way.
I'm going to clarify, you can't data into the chat box. I know Dayton, you guys just got started with this year, but if you're struggling to kind of manage that giant assessment package, reach out to Theta chapter, because they actually have a dedicated e-board position to that. But basically that's their only job the whole entire year, is to just gather documentation and fill out this report as they go. I know that we hopped in pretty quick when things happened at Dayton, like, you get this terrifying email like, this chapter is a failure, and then you dig into it, it's like, no, they just have incredibly unrealistic expectations for this, first year program. And so I'm glad we sorted that out. But yeah, Theta chapter would be a really good resource for you guys at Dayton, just to try and get a handle on this sooner rather than later, and not have to do everything from scratch.
One thing that I kind of anticipate, the types of support you might need from an RFD might look different this semester versus last semester with the COVID situation. And I would just say I've gotten on all of like the email lists for your campuses, so hopefully I should be pretty up to date if there's something changing with the status of you guys being on campus or hybrid versus off campus. But please do communicate that with me too if there's any big changes with your campus life situation. I see something in the chat. Let me read. Oh, it's just from you, Sharon.
Yeah, so honestly, it sounds like you guys really covered a lot of what we usually do in the roundtable. Is just Anna's been super on top of stuff already and has already reached out to everyone. I only have one more like official business thing that I want to take care of right now just before I forget. That's doing the session feedback form for this. So hopefully you guys have already done this before for other sessions, but if you haven't, you'll have to do it through the conference app through Whova. Basically, you'll just go to the homepage of that, either if you're using the mobile version or the on your laptop or something, and on the mobile version, it's additional resources on the homepage. On the web version, it's just resources in the left-hand menu. Both of those have an option for surveys. So if you click on that, the only survey that comes up is session feedback, and you click on that, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll have the Midwest 2 RFD roundtable session. And I'm going to pause the recording real quick. Okay, so our magic word is taboo. We're not going to say anymore. So there was a Google Docs spreadsheet that Gabby had emailed out. I'm not sure if that's just for the presidents or if it went to everyone, but it had the schedule and it had a tab for mandatory sessions. Actually, the last tab in that, that spreadsheet is for the recordings. So there's YouTube links for everything in there. These RFD sessions are not going to be publicly searchable YouTube things. So I'm just pulling up the conference thing right now. The rest of the sessions, I think you should be able to find those just by doing a Google search. And actually, now I'm not seeing. I thought she was going to put that in there. Okay, I'll have to work with Gabby to find those. But when it'll probably take us a couple of days to get those pulled off of the cloud and put on YouTube. So I would, if you haven't seen things by next weekend, either an email from Gabby or Kat saying, here's all the recordings, I would reach out to Gabby. She'll have a little bit better idea, but hopefully by the end of the week. Yes, I'm just going through my email trying to find. I know that Gabby posted something. I'm just trying to find it for you guys now.
Any other questions or points of discussion for today? If not, I have kind of a fun question. I would love to hear about like the most unique or creative virtual event that either yourself or someone in your chapter has, you've either done this summer or you're planning for the fall.
I can start, Anna. We held a virtual retreat last spring, and so my retreat chair, we started with like a breakout room, so we'd like split up into rooms and did like the kind of get to know you event where you try to find like 10 things that you all have in common, and then we all like came back, and then we did a game online, essentially like a Pictionary type game, so all of us could like hop onto that and like play together.
That sounds awesome.
We did one last semester. So for our I week, we still wanted to do the things that we usually do, which is like usually just like games kind of stuff. But we did one where people like submitted their baby pictures, and then everyone gets to like play Kahoot basically at the same time, So that was really fun. That was kind of fun. It's kind of like Jackbox, like so you can still do it virtually.
So you were trying to guess whose baby picture belonged to who?
Yeah, we do that, and then we also do one where it's like people basically do 2 truths and a lie, and then you try to vote which one's the lie. It's fun, and then you vote and you play.
That's awesome.
I can go next. In terms of events that we are going to plan for this semester, I know that our VP of programming is planning on having some events where she's going to actually get people's addresses and mail them things, and we can all kind of like do projects together, and we'll video chat while we do it. So I'm excited for that.
Hi. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to virtual recruitment. I know we're trying to make like smaller groups to get people to make better connections since it is virtual. So I'm looking forward to how we manage that and how that process goes.
I know at U of M, the chapter that I'm an alum from, there's a girl who hosts virtual Zumba every week, and she calls it like Zumba, but she spells it so it's clear that there's like a pun on, Zoom, like the video conferencing platform for Zumba. So it's like Zumba, but I guess a lot of people joined. I haven't joined yet. I don't do Zumba, but it seems super fun. And she leads that and will, video herself walking everyone through the motions and stuff like that. Thank you guys for sharing. Sharon, were you able to find that page, or do you have anything else that you wanted us to discuss today?
No, I'm still cruising through email. I know Gabby sent stuff out, but I am failing miserably at trying to find, oh my gosh, trying to find it. Yeah, I thought she just said that she just put a tab in the conference spreadsheet, but I'm not finding that. So yeah, if you guys don't see anything by the end of the week, we could just email Gabby today and let her know, and she'll probably, if she gets enough questions, she'll probably just post something with where it is, because I can't find it. I'm sorry.
That sounds good.
Yeah, but that's everything officially from me. Yeah, if you guys just make sure to fill out the survey feedback forms, that's it. Like I said, Anna's already had a meeting with you. I'll have one-on-ones with Anna, so she'll be my window into what's going on in Midwest too. Yeah, that's everything I've got.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, there's my email, Mary Beth's email address, and Caitlin. I put those all in the chat. So yeah, feel free to reach out to any of us. Obviously, Anna's your RFD is, you know, your primary resource. She's definitely got a little bit more bandwidth to help with things. But yeah, if it's something a little bit bigger that you just want to dive right in at the national level, go for it, but copy her on it so she's aware. But yeah, I feel like for 90% of the issues that most chapters have, your RFD is more than capable of handling that, as I'm sure you all found out with working with Rebecca for the past 2 years. So yeah, absolutely. And Dayton, I would just suggest you guys reach out to Connecticut, the Theta chapter, for some help in getting on top of that university Greek life assessments. Anybody else, if that pops up with your chapter, I'm sure you guys will all hear about that in your chapter president group me. So great. Well, I guess, Anna, if you don't have anything else, and if no one else has questions, you can go ahead and end a little bit early. I just want to thank everybody for being such active participants. I hope that you all got a lot out of virtual conference. I know I like having these RFD roundtables virtual because I can actually meet people from every chapter instead of just like running around trying to, you know, hit up as many roundtables as I can in an hour, which is the answer is like 2. It's pretty miserable. So I really appreciate the opportunity to meet everybody this evening. Yeah, so I guess with that, I'm just going to end the recording. So